The next film is Uncut Gems. So far, it's a very beautiful film, but I don't think this is going to last long. Especially because I've obviously just watched Good Time. Uncut Gems is the story of a New York jeweler who consistently places really, really high stake bets that could end in a serious win or an absolutely devastating loss. The jeweler in question, played by Adam Sandler, gets an opal essentially, and the opal becomes the vehicle for the reason the entire movie is basically taking place. I don't see this ending well for him. I don't see it ending well for him. But he is like the protagonist, so you want him to do well. I think first of all I have to commend Adam Sandler of all people for the performance. Absolutely outstanding. I completely forgot that I was watching Adam Sandler. I've never seen him go this serious for a role, and I think he should play a lot more serious, dramatic roles because he genuinely smashed it. It's insane that that's Adam Sandler. Like, it's too good an actor in this, man. Uncut Gems is created by the Safdie brothers, who created Good Time, which I watched a few movies ago. And what's really interesting is seeing the common threads that they've taken from Good Time, developed a bit further, and kind of masterfully played off in Uncut Gems. You've got extremely high stakes, and that leads to high tension that they maintain both throughout the movie and then bring to a crescendo or a climax directly at the end of the film. And it just works very, very well.
What are you doing?
Joy, what are you doing?
Is this what made The Weeknd think you could act?
No touching.
I was on the edge of my seat for most of the movie. I have heard it described as an anxiety-inducing experience, and I wouldn't go that far, but it was definitely thoroughly entertaining, thoroughly engaging, and honestly, I cannot wait to watch it again because it just looked great and it was a really, really good story. Honestly, I think that Uncut Gems is a certified banger, and I think therefore I have to genuinely give it 5 stars. There we go. Bro, this is actually, yeah, I'm a bit on edge to be honest. Next up is Saint Maud. That's me after 2 Red Bulls. Honestly, I'm just going to read this one from Letterboxd. St. Maud. Having recently found God, self-effacing young nurse Maud arrives at a plush home to take care for Amanda, a hedonistic dancer left frail from a chronic illness. When a chance encounter with a former colleague throws up hints of a dark past, it becomes clear that there is more to Sweet Maud than meets the eye. It bills itself as a horror film, but I don't really think anything horrific or anything remotely horror related happened until like the last 5-10 minutes basically, and even then it wasn't that developed. It was 1 or 2 jump scares, a bit of blood, a bit of symbolism, a bit of burning. I mean, that's about it. That was dumb. The only kind of redeeming quality for this film was the short runtime. Don't know if it would have benefited from being longer, but I don't know if I could have sat through anything longer because it didn't really do anything with that first hour. Oh nah. I think I'm gonna give St. Maud a 2.5 star, which is pretty harsh, but honestly, I don't know what else to give it because I didn't enjoy it. I wouldn't watch it again. I thought it could be vastly improved. I haven't even touched on what themes the film is trying to tackle, mainly because I don't think it's even worth talking about them.
May God bless you and never waste your pain.
Never waste your pain. Liam Payne.
My G.
No, I'm joking. Next up, it's another horror movie, hopefully a better one. It's X. So far, there has been nosebleeds in 4 of the films, and there's been too many sex scenes for me to count. I've genuinely forgotten how many sex scenes there are. I should do a stat list at the end. 4 nosebleeds, 1 dog has been kicked to death. Yeah, off screen, but kicked to death nonetheless. X is a horror slasher film directed by Ti West. T.I.? In 1979, a group of young filmmakers set out to make an adult film in rural Texas, but when their reclusive elderly hosts catch them in the act, the cast find themselves fighting for their lives. So nice. I know what the film's about. Nice. X borrows a lot from other horror films in the genre. It references them quite a lot or pays homage to them. I think one of the most direct examples of that is Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which is what I instantly jump to, where there's a group of outsiders that go to a hut in the middle of nowhere, basically, and then get attacked by the neighbor that's nearby or on the area. It's very similar, very formulaic in that aspect, but it all comes down to execution and story and visuals, and I think it's done very, very well in X, or at least differently to what I was expecting. Watch out! That fucking got me. Fuck me. I, contrary to a lot of people, rate Texas Chainsaw Massacre quite low, and I don't think that's because of the time it was created, but it's just how much of a slow burn it is. And while this film is a slow burn, it does pick up the pace a little bit. There is obviously an underlying story as opposed to just a bunch of psycho killers, essentially.
I'm just going to put the chain on the door because I'm genuinely shitting myself a little.
I think I'm going to give X 3.5 stars because, like I said, I enjoyed it. It was a slasher flick. It was exactly what I wanted and expected, and it did make me shut the door and lock it and put the chain on because, I'm scared of old people too, and it's genuinely creepy. So, yeah. Yeah, bro, that old lady's creepy, man. Next up is Everything Everywhere All at Once. I feel like there's certain times in the day, which is evidently now. What time is it now? Like 2:30ish, when I just break, man. Like, happened before. Can't even remember the film. I watched the film and it was fine, and then I watched the next film and halfway through it was just killing me. And it was a good one as well. It was the one before the Alien one. I stayed up for the whole of that because I had a cup of coffee during the previous movie, but I don't remember what the previous movie was.
Oh.
I've had half the Red Bull. I think I'm awake. I think I might just stay awake throughout the whole of that film. I've seen it before. It was a great film. Everything Everywhere All at Once. Not really much to say, except that it's a great film. I know that there's been people that aren't rating it 5 stars anymore, and I don't know why. I feel like that's the trend now. It was good at the time. Oh, now it's overrated. No, I thought it was great. Again, beautiful story, beautiful film. If you haven't seen it, just bloody watch it. I'm not even going to bother explaining the plot because it's just crazy, but it's just good. It's just really good. Did it win Best Picture? I think it won Best Picture. And if it did win Best Picture, it won it for a bloody reason. It's very good.
In another life, most people only have a few significant alternate life paths so close to them.
when you hit the 3-day mark, you start hallucinating. I would be lying if I said my eyes haven't been flickering and some stuff's weird. I'm pretty sure one of those pillows went black and white earlier. I just hope I stay awake. I'm cracking cold. Everything Everywhere All at Once. I give it 5 stars, as I have done previously, because it is very, very good, and I'm very happy with it. No improvements. Daniel's crushed it.
但也让我开始在想，如果你跟我一起走的话。
Next film is Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. Put me out my fucking misery, man.
How many hours have you been going?
40.
40 hours. Have you slept at all?
No, I don't know. I don't think so. I feel like my body has entered a new state of trying to stay awake or trying not to die, one of the two. My guess is that my brain is essentially trying to like do micro sleeps that are like, I don't know, 30 seconds a piece. I don't know. The film I just watched, I saw the whole film, but I'm like pretty sure that I shut my eyes at some point. But I saw the whole film. I didn't miss anything.
Do you mind if I just plop into it real quick?
Sure.
Marcel the Shell with Shoes On is a comedy animation film, and it follows Marcel, who is a shell, and he has little shoes. I don't know if Marcel was a pre-existing kind of project or video prior to this feature-length movie, but the feature-length movie is absolutely outstanding. I think it was beautiful, it was heartwarming, it was shot brilliantly, animated very well, voice acting was great. I just thought overall it was just a beautiful package. I can't really wait to watch it again.
When the kush hit? Kush? What is kush?
I left feeling terrible, but that's my own fault. It's not the film's fault. It's because I'm doing this stupid challenge. But no, it was a very good film. I'd happily watch it with the family. It was a beautiful film. I'd give Marcel the Shell with Shoes On 5 stars. It's fucking depressing. Like, I'm getting sad because of a personified shell. Next up is a personal favourite of mine. I've obviously seen it before multiple times. It's Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. You can probably tell I'm pretty amped up for this one. I just watched Bodies, 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 and I'm fully kitted out in my neon glow sticks. I absolutely love this film. I thought that the glow sticks last for about like an hour. It might be glowing for the next 8 hours apparently, so let's flipping make the most of it, yeah?
Guys, I get
Bodies Cubed is essentially a film about a group of friends who all gather at one of the friends' mansion for a hurricane party. And during the hurricane party, they decide to play a game of werewolf, or in this case, Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. And things go very awry when someone actually turns up dead. The blacks are incredibly shit on this TV. is bad when you're watching a film that is predominantly black. It's very much of its time, which is now, essentially, but I think it pulls it off extremely well. The thing is, I love the tunes in this film as well, that they're so perfect for the film. Tonally, I think it works great. I think all the actors do a great job. I fully believe every single one of their characters, and I'm just fully invested in the whodunit aspect of it as well. Got to be honest with you, I've seen this like twice, 3 times. I don't remember who the killer is. I think objectively, it is a 4-star film. However, I bloody love it, and I will always stand by it. I'm going to give it a 5-star because I think it's just absolutely amazing. I need one of those for now, do you know what I mean? Seasonal affective disorder, SAD. Get the lighting going, don't yawn then, and just stay focused on the film. Next up is Pearl.
What did I do wrong?
Nothing. Calm down.
No! Why are you leaving me if I didn't do anything wrong? I don't understand. I thought you liked me!
I do like you.
Pearl is the second film in Ty West's X trilogy, or Maxine trilogy, whatever you want to call it. Pearl is the origin story of the villain from the first film. X was a slasher film. I'm not particularly sure what the category is for Pearl, but it's definitely not a slasher film. It's more of a psychological horror descent. We've seen, countless times before. We've had it with The Lighthouse, for example, that was on earlier as well. And while I think The Lighthouse was an absolutely amazing way of showing just how far you can go with isolation, I think Maxine was kind of the opposite. It dialed up everything to 100. The obvious takeaway, if you do compare it with X and even The Lighthouse, is just how oversaturated, bright all the colours are. They're in your face. They're basically almost sickly to bring you to that point of unease. And I think it comes across very, very well. Yo, that dude is crispy. But no, overall, I thought it was very good. I thought the acting by Mia Goth was amazing. I'm not going to lie, and it's probably again due to my mental state, but I haven't got the capacity anymore for any more high-pitched, shrill screaming. Basically, this whole second half of the movie, I was basically just checked out with screaming. It was just like pissing me off. Like, I'm just done with everything. You're going to get like just pissed off Pav at this point, just because I've got no filter. I'm 48 hours deep and I can't think. Oh, shut the fuck up once in a while. Bloody hell. I gave X 3.5. I think I'm also going to give Pearl 3.5. And I'm very happy with that decision.
You see what it does to your father? That's what you want for yourself and others? And maybe that is what you wish for me.
Syphilis. Always the big S, isn't it? Next up is Beau is Afraid. By the way, I always end up watching this dude have like weird sex. Beau is Afraid is the latest film by Ari Aster, so the same person that made Midsommar and Hereditary. But he does love head removal, doesn't he? Except this time it's not a horror film. It's actually a drama. Apparently it's also a comedy, but I'm definitely going to go with drama. It follows Beau, who is played by Joaquin Phoenix, who essentially tries to make his way from his flat to his mother's house, and that's the whole plot pretty much. Of course, it's not that simple. There's trials and tribulations throughout the whole thing, and it is a 3-hour movie, so it's very, very dense. But each of the 3 hours within this film had me feeling different things. Within the first hour, I was feeling quite tense, feeling quite anxious. I know that this is a film that's been advertised as quite an anxious film, and the entire film apparently makes you feel quite anxious. I felt that most in the first hour. You don't particularly know what's going to happen, and because you're in the shoes of Beau, you can see and relate pretty much to what he is anxious about. The second part for me is where it goes a little bit off the rails. It's a lot more confusing for me. It probably gets a bit more philosophical and delves a little bit deeper into the actual story and psychology behind Beau as a character. And then the final third, I genuinely had absolutely no clue what was going on. I'm going to need to watch a YouTube video that explained it. given up on symbolism at this point, man. And I thought like David Lynch was complicated. What the fuck is this? I think my understanding of the film, and I think maybe I remember the director saying, is that it is all an allegory for his relationship with his mother. And if that's the case, I couldn't relate to this film. And I think that's a good thing, because if I can't relate to the film, then surely that means I don't have a turbulent relationship with my mother. So I'm going to count that as an absolute win and move on from there. But it was very weird. And I don't know if I could explain it. She has such a nice house and he has such a terrible partner. A very crap neighbour. I'm sure there's a reason for it, but I don't know what it is. It was shot well. I'd obviously seen the trailer beforehand going into it, and I was quite worried about the cartoony sequences, but I thought they actually slotted in quite well. Didn't really notice the score, don't know if that's a positive or a negative, but everybody acted everything very, very well, and I thought the characters were interesting to kind of pick apart. I think I'm going to give Beau is Afraid 3 stars, because it just confused me, and I don't know if it was trying to be clever for the sake of being clever, or if it was just trying to illustrate the director's feelings and therefore just isn't relatable to anybody else, but it just felt very alien to me. And that's Alien the concept, not Alien the movie. That's funny. He shoots himself and also the other guy behind him. The next film is Talk to Me. Talk to Me is a horror film that follows a group of teenagers that discover or find through some means an embalmed hand, and that hand allows them to talk to the dead, and they use that essentially as a party trick throughout the start of the movie. You'd have to communicate with the dead, record it, and get those TikTok views. But as you guessed, it's a horror movie. It clearly, something goes wrong from there, and it just devolves into a nightmare, as it usually always does. Good montage. I think from a surface level, this film is about loss and grieving and kind of dealing with, you know, potential guilt and stuff like that. It's a very interesting film, I think, and when I first watched it, I wrote a review on Letterboxd I think still stands, so I'm basically just going to read it back out, because I think the film is just as good as when I saw it in cinemas. So I wrote, the film felt like a mashup of different horror genre concepts from a range of different movies, but they all blended together beautifully and were executed very well. I think it can be difficult to do something different with a typical cookie cutter genre like horror. So this wasn't amazingly innovative in terms of story or concept, but it was executed very well, and it does show. Some scenes look absolutely amazing, some scenes are acted very well, and it just makes an all-round good horror movie, even when you're working with some pretty basic elements. The look that they, like the makeup, it looks, obviously it's a bit different to the regular makeup. It's really good. I don't actually know what the difference is, but like it's visually a different tone, you know? I also like that while some parts of the movie are left dangling and open to interpretation, the key plot points and ending weren't. The film, you know, didn't get stuck up its own arse at any point, in my opinion, and I really, really appreciate that from the filmmakers. I think it's very easy to just get lost in your own delusion. I have just watched Beau is Afraid, and I think that is a film where it does maybe get lost within its own delusion, because that was the intention from the filmmaker, but I don't think it translates over to myself as the viewer very well. And I think that wasn't the case in this movie. I think the concepts were correctly explored. I think they were shown very easily, and I was able to grasp what was going on basically straight away. Why did I think that was a deer the first time I watched this? It's always a deer in a horror movie. Like they always run over a deer or hit a deer or deer symbolism. It's a kangaroo. Well, they are in Australia, so fair play. Or a joey? I don't know. It's definitely... Or a wallaby. I don't know what the difference is anymore. And I just loved it. I gave the film 4 stars. I think it deserves 4 stars because it was very, very good. And especially because it's a directorial debut for a feature-length film. from the directors. They've done an outstanding job. I have heard they're making a sequel. I don't think it needs a sequel or prequel, whatever. I mean, sure, I absolutely want to see more from these filmmakers, but not necessarily in the Talk To Me franchise, because I think that this first film does it justice. Doesn't it like cut to him watching like a Sidemen video or something? I swear it does. There we go. Up next is Dream Scenario. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling upbeat. I'm feeling happy. I'm feeling energized. Well, I don't know about energized, but I'm not feeling tired, which is probably pretty good. I'm actually really looking forward to this film. Nicolas Cage can do no wrong. No, he can, but... Dream Scenario is about Nicolas Cage's character, Paul, who is a college professor, and things go a bit awry for him when people start dreaming about him. And this is happening worldwide. He just keeps appearing in people's dreams, but he's not doing anything.
A good friend of mine is lying in the street, hit by a car, bleeding, dying in my arms, right? And then this is just in a dream, of course. And out of nowhere,
This is still the dream, yeah.
there you are, just strolling by.
I thought this movie was quite good. I went in expecting one thing and got something slightly different out, which to be honest is what I expect at this point with A24 films, but I did very much enjoy the comedic vibe. I really enjoyed the simplistic nature and setup of the story, to be honest. You have Nicolas Cage, you've got Tim Meadows, and it just set a different tone for me when you compare it to all the films that I've been watching this entire time. They're very deep, they're probably very heavy. This one just felt a little bit lighter, and like I was probably just watching a normal comedy, whether or not that actually was the case. I think the majority of the film works very well. I enjoyed seeing the dream sequences, and I feel like overall the movie did fall a bit flat towards the end. Again, not trying to give anything away, but I think various things in the film could have used maybe a bit more context, a bit more explanation, or maybe I'm just not happy with where certain characters end up and I'm taking it out on the film. That was just sad, right? Like, I thought it'd be like a happy-go-lucky film, not like a... Yeah, no, Nicolas Cage had his life ruined and now it's depressed. Like, just, what? But like I was saying, I think probably the first 2/3 of the film worked really well. It's just the last third I think could be tightened up a bit better. Overall, I think I'd give Dream Scenario a 3.5, which I don't think is too harsh. But no, Nicolas Cage is always a win. Thoughts. What a really cool display. The word thoughts. Hey, guess what? The next word is thoughts. I'm pretty excited because there's only 2 films left, and the penultimate film is I Saw the TV Glow. What I should do is whip out the glow sticks again and have just the pink ones. I Saw the TV Glow follows a teenager, Owen, who befriends a classmate who introduces him to a TV show called The Pink Opaque that is a reference to a supernatural world beneath their own. And I don't know about this film, to be honest. It didn't really work for me.
I've been there. Inside the show. Inside the Pink Opaque.
It feels like I Saw the TV Glow is about being afraid to let your inner self out or afraid to be your true self. And if that's the case, I think that's a brilliant message. However, again, I didn't pick up on that message at any point. It might have been because I was focusing too much on the Pink Opaque. I really wanted to learn a little bit more about the show because I thought that would be the main crux of the horror in this. I think the horror itself comes from that realization of the message. It's basically self-inflicted horror. Again, I on paper wouldn't call it a horror, but if there's a message that people are getting from it that's clearly more horrific than I'm making out, then, you know, all power to them. That's scarier than St. Maud. Okay, you want my honest opinion? That shit right there. The only discernible message that I could get from watching the film was that you should never trust streaming services because they will change and remake and adapt the content that they pop on there. You should be making sure you keep a hard copy of every single thing that you like, because otherwise they will ruin it and you'll never see it properly again, right? I'll play the clip.
I started the pink opaque again, and it was nothing like I remembered it.
Hey, Mr. Ice Cream Man. Stop turning all my friends into popsicle sticks.
But I'm so lonely. I have nothing to do all winter.
Whole thing felt cheesy and cheap, dated, and not scary at all.
Also, narration, the entire film was basically just a massive exposition dump, in my opinion anyway. There was a scene in a planetarium where one of the leads is speaking directly into camera about what their experience was like in this TV world, and it's basically a 7-minute long sequence of them slowly edging closer towards the camera. I was not invested, I didn't care. Obviously, I listened and I took it all in and I understood it, but I did care visually for it. It didn't show, not tell. It basically told me, and I would have liked to maybe seen that. I don't know how you'd show that. Maybe show the adventure through the TV world, but just, it didn't hit me. I feel like, I don't know. I really don't know. No, I'm sorry, what? No. What? No. Again, if people are rating this 5 stars because they understand it a lot better than I do and are taking away a greater message from this film, then all power to them. It's probably perfectly fine then if that's the case, but it just didn't work for me. And because of that, I'm going to give I Saw the TV Glow 2.5 stars. Next up, it's the final film, thank God. We are finally circling back round and watching Climax. I've moved Climax to the end of the film slate for 2 reasons. The first is because it's called Climax. Let's make it the climax of the video and put it at the end. The second reason is because BFI South Bank are currently running a season called Discomfort Movies, which Climax is a part of. And what that means, assuming I've timed it right, today they're screening Climax in the cinema, and I figured what better way to finish off this stupid idea of a marathon than by going straight to South Bank and watching Climax in the cinema. So I've just got back from BFI South Bank and I've just seen Climax, and honestly it was a pretty horrific film, and I mean that in the best sense of the word, because I never want to watch it again, but it was so well done that I kind of have to watch it again. Climax is a film by Gaspar Noé, and it follows a group of dancers who have just had dance rehearsal, and they decide to have a party afterwards, and someone essentially spikes the sangria with LSD, and the whole film from that point onwards is essentially a nightmarish descent into this very, very bad trip, and it's just really gruesome, nauseating to look at. And I think that's helped along by the cinematography and the sound design and the colour. Again, it's very nauseating, it's deafening, it's intrusive, and it becomes quite claustrophobic, and it's not a good time. But at the end of the day, it is a very, very good movie, and that's why I'm gonna have to give Climax 5 stars. So that's it, it's officially over. I've completed my stupid challenge. I can officially say that I watched 24 A24 films without sleeping, and it only took me 58 hours, 10 minutes and 40 seconds. There you go, have a look at that. I'm proud of that. I'm proud of that because that includes the time to watch all 24 feature-length films, the Euros final game, don't forget that, eat and cook my food, go to the loo, just record all the videos like these bloody interstitials. Hey, I do what I do, you know. In the end, was it worth it? Fuck no. But that's probably because I just pissed away 3 days worth of annual leave. So there you go. I hope you've found something new to watch. A24, please sponsor me. I never want to do this again. Thank you so much for watching, and good night. I had Lunchable mainly because my stomach was feeling weird this morning. I'm not gonna lie. I don't. I was gonna make tacos. I don't want to eat the pizza. I want to eat the pizza tomorrow when I'm strapped for time for lunch, basically. But I couldn't eat pizza today. I saw the pizza and was like, I can't stomach that right now. Like I need the Lunchable for me. It's cheese, cracker, and ham. It's not gonna go wrong. But that won't f me up in any way, you know. I had a sandwich yesterday, so.
Hey, yo, guys, I'm telling